Hello everyone, welcome back to this Swayam course, Introductions to Farm Machinery and Implement, which is being offered on Swayam platform. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about harvesting machinery and equipments. In the last class, we were talking about intercultural operations, tools and equipments and intercultural operations, under which we talked about weeding operation, we talked about earthing up operation, we talked about sprayers, dusters, and others. At the beginning, talking about seedbed preparation, where we plowed the land, we leveled it with the help of secondary tillage implement. Then we talked about sowing and planting operations, where the plants seeds are sown either through broadcasting or through using seed drill, seed cum fertilizer drill, dibbling method, or by transplanting methods. And once the crop is transplanted, then they start growing. After the crop is sown or seed is sown to the before the plant is being harvested, there are many interculture operations one has to perform, and that interculture operation differs from plant to plant. Similarly, we talked about weeding operations, we talked about earthing up operations, we talked about plant protection operations, where we use the sprayers and dusters to apply chemicals to control the pest, control the insects, and control the disease, and also to control the weeds and all. In this class, once the interculture operation is done and crop is growing well and it reaches to maturity level, then the next operation in the crop production process is harvesting, and that is what that we are going to discuss about various harvesting tools and machinery which will be used to harvest the crop. So here the harvesting is the operations where we cut the crop, we will pick the we will plug the economical part out of the plant, or it is a combinations of cutting, picking or plucking in order to remove the crops, whether it is under the ground or above the ground, or we also remove the useful parts as per the fruits and vegetable plants are concerned. So in any cases, if you remove the crop by cutting, if you remove the crop by picking or plucking the economical part or the useful part out of the plant, or if you dig the crop where the crop is under the ground in order to remove the useful part out of the useful part of that plant. So in such all operations are called here as a harvesting. So harvesting action is done by four ways. Harvesting can be done by using a sharp tool, where the sharp tool uses a slicing action, or you can use a harvesting tool that is having rough serrated edges, which impose a tearing action or experience the tearing action. And you may have a sharp cutting or dull cutting edge of equipment or implement which uses a high velocity impact for harvesting the crop. Or you may use a two element scissor type of action to cut the crop. So whatever the equipment or machines you use to harvest the crop, they may use any one of these four actions. So slicing action, whenever you use a sickle, where the sickle cutting edge is a plain cutting edge, so that sickle will experience the slicing action. Whereas the same sickle where it is having a serrated cutting edges instead of sharp cutting edge, it will experience the tearing action rather than slicing action. If we use a oxa kind of equipment where you ram it over the crop to cut the crop, and while cutting the crop, it uses a high velocity element. It may be having sharp cutting edge, or it may be having dull cutting edge. So that crop will undergo a cutting as this tool hit that crop. In such cases, that equipment uses a impact force of cutting element to cut the crop. Or you may use a scissor actions of equipment to cut the crop. So these are all the four commonly seen actions whenever you use any type of equipment for harvesting of crop. So harvesting can be done by four methods. manually operated tool using manually operated tools. Under the manually operated tools, it may be a sickle, it may be a spade, it may be a oxa or something else. Even you can use kurpa too to remove certain kind of crop or to harvest the certain kind of crop. You may use animal drawn machines to harvest the crop. Animal drawn machine here, it may be a harvester, groundnut digger, it may be potato digger, it may be a reaper, it may be animal drawn mower. Like that, there are various machines available to use it as a harvesting equipment or tools which run by using animal power. Or the mechanical operated machines are also there. Mechanical operated machines are quite popular and common nowadays because of mechanization, under which there are various type of equipments will come, machines will come, like tractor drawn movers, tractor drawn reaper, tractor combine harvester, tractor operator fly shredder, rotary cutter. So that we will study in the next slide regarding them. So manual harvesting involves slicing and tearing action or combination of these two. If the slicing any tool is involving slicing action, then it must be having a plain cutting edge, and any hand tool is involving tearing action, then it must be having a serrated cutting edges. So sickle is such a simple tool and tool used for harvesting. So you see, sickle is a simple tool. It is being used as a harvesting tool since ancient days, where for such crops like finger millet, ragi, paddy, wheat, and other crops, where the farm labor can able to hold it in one hand and cut it in the other hand using this sickle. So it is essentially consists of two parts. One is an handle, another one is a metallic blade. So metallic blade comes with the cutting edge, and another is the handle, generally made from wooden material, and nowadays the wooden handle is being replaced with the plastic too, or a fiber. And only care must be taken while choosing the material is that it must be light in weight, so that as the material is light in weight, so it will ease the operations of harvesting of crop. As I was saying, the sickle may be two types based upon the cutting edge. It may be a plain cutting edge type of sickle, or it may be a serrated cutting edge type of sickle. So serrated edge involves the tearing action, whereas plain cutting edge involves slicing action. So harvesting by impact action of cutter involves a rotating unit, where that rotating unit having the blades, and that blades, whenever they hit over the crop will be cut into pieces. So any equipment they use such a mechanism for harvesting, they are called as the impact action cutter, impact action involving cutting equipments or cutting machines. So any impact cutter as a single element which is moving at high speed, and it operates by inertia of material being cut, and to furnish the opposing force required for shearing. So whenever any plant which tend to resist the high velocity moving tool, so that will undergo cutting operations, because the inertia it uses to oppose or resist the movement of that high velocity element. Because of that, it will cut into pieces. So there are two type of impact cutters are there, which are used to harvest the crop. One is rotary cutter, another one is the fly shredder. Rotary cutter is the one such impact action involved harvesting tool. Most of the cases is a tractor drawn type, and it comes with rotary cutter with the knives attached to its hub and projecting towards outside, and their diameter will be around 1 to 2.1 meter wide, the area they cover as they rotate. and there will be two to four knives or blades attached into the rotary cutter unit, and whenever they rotate and they move forward, so any crops they come across with these rotating knives, they will be cut into pieces, and that's how the crop will be harvested. So here the crop is mainly a grass, so rotary cutter is mainly used to harvest the grasses, not for any grain or other such grained crops. There will be sometime more than 2 to 3 such rotors which are arranged side one to other, side by side, so that the coverage width cutting area may be increased up to 6.1 meter, where that individual cutting rotors cutting width will be around 2.1 meter each, and in such cases, depending upon the number of such units which are placed one beside to other, the working width will be increased. So this is how the rotary cutters will look like, where it has a rotor. Into the rotor there will be a blades which are attached into the rotor, and they're free to rotate as the rotor rotates, and that's how any weeds which are any crop which come across this rotating blade, they will be cut into pieces. So they can able to operate at a peripheral speed of 51 to 76 meter per second, and at that for peripheral speed, any crops which come across with this rotating blade, they will be cut into pieces. So the knives or the supporting arms may be shaped in such a way that they can able to lift the larger crops, and that lifted larger crops may be further reduced cut into small pieces, and that's how their size will be reduced. So the blades are not exactly in the horizontal plane, they may be inclined some way to the ground as they are projected outwards from that center hub, and that will inclining blades will able to lift the large material, and the lifted material will be cut into pieces later as they rotate. The blades will rotate. So this is how the rotary cutter is used to cut the grass crop. So this one is the lawn mower, where the lawn mowers also have rotary cutters, and this one is the mower used to harvest the grass crop. So in Indian condition or Indian scenario, this type of rotary cutter are not used popularly, but they are quite common in European country, where they grow grasses in large area and harvest those grass, and they use it for as a raw material for refining energy ethanol production units. So there such kind of equipments are used. Fly shredder is another example for impact cutting mechanism involved harvester, where it comes with the rotor, and into the rotor there will be number of flanges, number of knives are attached, which we are called as the flail, and they are free to swing either side, as they are not rigid one. They are free to swing in either side, and they are randomly attached. There will be 3 to 4 rows of such flails, and each flails are positioned in such a way that they will not follow the previous path of the previous one, so that there will be no crop left as the implement is operated in the field. So they can able to cover entire field without having much overlapping. So they may cut each flail will able to cut the crop to a width of 50 to 150 mm, and like that there will be number of flails in each row, and there will be such 3 to 4 rows in individual rotary unit. And this is how the flail shredder will be used to harvest the crop. So here, as you can see, some green manure plants are grown in the field, and they are being incorporated into the soil by using the flail shredder. Here the maize harvested field, the maize stalks are being cut and shredded in the field, and that's how they may be put in the field over the surface of the field, and they may serve as a soil cover and mulching too. So for such operations, to shred the crop into small pieces and lay them over the field, so these equipments will be used, and these equipments work by involving the impact force or impact cutting actions. Okay, so the next machine used for harvesting of crop is a mower. Mower is a machine which is used to cut the herbage crops or harvest the herbage and forage crops and leave them in a swath. So again, these type of machines are not to harvest the grained crop. So our grains crops are like wheat, paddy, or any cereals, any pulses, or any other crops which are having grains which we target to harvest and collect. So for such crops, these movers are not used. Mower is meant for harvesting the herbage crops and forage crops. They cut them and leave them in a swath. So swath here is the line of harvested material. So that line of harvested material is called as swath. So there are different types of movers available commercially. They are namely cylinder mower, they are reciprocating type of mower, horizontal rotary mower, gang mower, and flail mower. Out of this, horizontal rotary mower and flail mower, the both work similar to the what we discussed in the previous slide, like rotary cutter and flail shredder. So they are reduced in their size. Is if we are able to reduce their size and use it, then they will become movers. Or the rotary mower works in the similar way as the rotary cutter do, while the flail mover's working principle remains same with the flail shredder. So I am not going to discuss again here about those two type of movers. As far as cylinder mower is concerned, the cylinder mower has a rotating helical blades which are arranged in horizontal cylindrical form. The blades are arranged helically on the periphery of the cylinder so that it will look like a skeletal shaped cylinder, and whenever it operates, each blades will cut the grasses or forages into pieces, and that's why this type of mower is named after the shape of the cutting unit, which is cylinder. So it has helical blades arranged in horizontal cylindrical form. With the rotation of blade, the forage or grasses, they will be cut continuously as long as this rotor is rotating. So the drive will be given with the help of electric motor or from the IC engine or from any other mean. So it must rotate at certain speed, at certain RPM, then only it can able to cut the grasses or forages. And this type of cylindrical mower quite common in the garden for maintaining the lawns. So gang mower is an improved or larger sized cylinder mower only, where there will be more than one such cylindrical mower within the frame. As you can see in this picture, the same cylindrical cutting unit in this equipment, but there are more than one such cylindrical movers are there, which are arranged in such a way that so that it can able to harvest the grasses or forages in large width. I mean, the cutting width of this equipment will be more, and that's how it can able to cover more area per unit time. And this is how you can see that in case of a gang mower, the harvesting of grasses or forages will be done like this. So there are more than 5 such gangs are arranged in such a way so that it can look like a one unit, and it will able to harvest the crop large width in one pass. Out of this, all movers named here, the cylindrical mower, reciprocating mower, horizontal rotary mower, gang mower, and flail mower, the reciprocating mower is most commonly used anywhere. Wherever you go, you will find reciprocating type of mower, because it offers more flexibility in terms of cutting depth and cutting power, as far as cutting depth as well as efficiency of cutting is concerned. So depending upon the source of power, the mower may be a animal drawn type or it may be a tractor drawn type. In both the cases, the basic components remain same. There will be no change. The only difference, the animal drawn mower makes with the tractor drawn mower, or the tractor drawn mower makes the difference with the animal drawn mower, is the power transmission unit, the way of transmitting power and supplying that power into the rotary, cutter bar, where the reciprocating motion is involved to cut the crops. So in any conventional reciprocating type mower, these are all the common components. The frame, where it provides space for all the associated components of the mower, and power transmitting unit is the component part of the mower where it produces the power and it generates the power and deliver that power into the cutter bar unit, where the cutting of crop will take place. So cutter bar is the assembly including of blades, knives and other associated part where the cutting of crop actually takes place. Shoe are two parts. There are two types of shoes are there in the mower, particularly reciprocating type of mower, in inner shoe and outer shoe. And the purpose of this shoe is to enable us to adjust the depth of height of cutting of grasses or crops. So with the help of shoes, we can able to adjust the height at which the crop must be cut or harvested. So similarly, there are ledger plate and wear plate which are also there in the cutter bar, and it supports the knife to cut the crop. And there are grass board and pitman. The grass board help to deliver the cut grasses into the cut area, harvested area, so that the harvested crop should not fall over the uncut crop. And pitman is the part of the mower. With the help of this, the rotary power generated by the mower will be converted into another convenient form of energy, which is essentially required for cutter bar. So cutter bar generally requires a reciprocating motion, or the energy in the form of reciprocating motion, whereas animal drawn mower able to generate power in rotary motion. So convert from rotary motion to reciprocating motion, we do use a pitman. So pitman here serves as a connecting rod in case of IC engine, where the connecting rod converts the reciprocating motion of piston into rotary motion of the crankshaft. So similarly here, the pitman is used to convert the rotary motions of the drive wheel into reciprocating motion required for the cutter bar. So here as you can see, this is how the mower will look like. In case of animal drawn mower, so this is how the animal drawn mower will look like, and these are all the self-propelled type movers, and this one is the tractor mounted and tractor operated movers. So in case of tractor operated movers, the power required for this cutter bar unit is taken by the tractor's PTO. So from the tractor's PTO, this unit will receive the rotary motion, and this rotary motion will be converted into reciprocating motion required for this cutter bar with the help of a pitman. So the purpose of pitman is to convert the rotary motion into reciprocating motion. So reciprocating motion is essentially required for cutter bar unit. And this is the frame where it accommodates all other components of the mower unit. In this case also, these are all the frame where it supports all other components to be attached into it. And power transmission unit, in case of a tractor, the power transmission unit is the tractor, where the tractor is directly providing rotary motion required through the PTO, and with the help of the this power received, here there will be rotary motion, and that will be converted into reciprocating motion with the help of a pitman. Whereas in case of a animal drawn mower, so the animal drawn mower comes with the wheels, and as the implement is dragged forward or pulled forward, the wheels will rotate, and as the wheels are rotated, they will generate the rotary motion, and that rotary motions will be carried into the flywheel with the help of a set of gear mechanisms, bevel gear and all. They convert the direction of travel, transfer the this rotary motion right angle, so that this motion will be converted into this way, and from here the power rotary drive will be given to the flywheel, and over the flywheel the pitman will be placed, and this pitman convert this rotary motion of flywheel into reciprocating motion required for the cutter bar unit. And that's how the entire power transmission unit here consists of a drive wheel and into the drive wheel axle. Then here it is a small gearbox where the multiplication of speed also takes place, and in addition to that the direction of power is transmitted at right angle. Then same the rotary motions that will be converted into 90-degree, and it will flow from this direction to this direction, and here the rotary motion is converted into reciprocating motion with the help of a pitman. So the cutter bar is the component, the entire portions of this unit is called as the cutter bar. So all these portions is called as the cutter bar. Cutter bar consists of a knife, ledger plate, wear plate, and other small accessories like nut and bolt and all. So show is the part, here it is mentioned here. There are two types of show. There are two shows will be there in each mover cutter bar unit, outer unit show and inner unit show, and they are provided to facilitate height of harvest of crop, and with the help of them we can able to adjust height of harvest. And there are ledger plate. So ledger plate over which the knife will move. The knife will be having triangular cross section with two cutting edges, and that triangular cross section two cutting edged knife will move over the ledger plate, and that's how it generates the scissor action. So anything which comes in between, they will be cut into pieces, and that's how the harvesting will take place in case of a reciprocating cutter bar. So reciprocating cutter bar remain same in reaper also, combine harvester also, reaper binder also, and mover also. So reciprocating type cutter bar is the most commonly used cutting mechanism in case of mechanical harvesting. So ledger plate is the plate over which that knife will move or it will reciprocate, and while reciprocating it will causes a scissoring action because of its moving over the other plate, and any crop, any material, plant material come in between this ledger plate and moving knife, they will be cut into pieces, and that's how the crop is harvested. So wear plate is the type of metallic plate which is provided at the rear of the blade, and that's how it provides a vertical support to the knife or a blade from the rear. This one is the grass board. It ensures the cut material must fall on the harvested area instead of falling over the uncut plant, so that it should not create any confusion while we come for harvesting in the next pass. Okay, that's how the components of the mover will perform their dedicated task. So the next machine used for harvesting is a reaper. Reaper is a main machine used for harvesting grain crops. So here the grain crops are like wheat, paddy, all other cereal crops. Any crop similar to the wheat and paddy, for them we can use this machine. So that's why reaper is referred as a grain crop harvesting machine or an equipment. So again, they may be animal drawn type, or they may be tractor drawn type, or they may be power tiller operated also. And in case of animal drawn machine, they consist of machine may consist frame, the cutter bar knife, the wheels, bearings, and other attachments. The frame is to support all the associated components of the reaper, and cutter bar knife is the one which we seen in the previous slide. This type of cutter bar unit it will have, and with the help of them it will cut the crop, and there will be a wheel. So as you can see in this picture, with the help of this wheel, as the implement is moved forward, whenever the animals will pull this equipment, so these rotary motions will be converted into reciprocating motion, as we discussed in the reciprocating mover. So the similar way, so in the reaper also, animal drawn reaper, the drive motion or the drive required to cut the crop by the reaper by the reciprocating cutter bar is generated and converted by the implement's parts only. I mean, these wheels, as they rotate, they generate rotary motion, and with the help of a proper drive conversion methods, so that energy rotary motion will be converted into reciprocating motion, and that's how, with the help of reciprocating motion, the crop will be harvested, and harvested crop will be deposited here to certain quantity, and as the crop deposited over this platform reaches to certain level, then the machine will be stopped and this entire mass of harvested crop will be taken out, and that harvesting machine will begin again. And that's how the animal drawn or animal operated reaper will work. So all the cut crop will be collected on this platform, and they will be frequently taken out of that platform, and that machine will be continue to operate as long as the crop field is completely harvested. So the crop will be harvested at a height of 5 to 10 centimeter above the ground, and this is the machine where it is called as the reaper binder. In addition to harvesting the crop like this, it will bind the crop mass into bundle like this, and that's how it is called as the reaper binder. So this is also being operated by a pair of horses. As the horses pull the equipment, the wheels will rotate, and this wheel will generate the required drive for performing cutting as well as binding operations. The cut crop will be carried into the binding unit, where they will make the bundles of harvest crop into convenient size. So vertical conveyor reaper is another type of popular equipment for harvesting the grains, particularly paddy and wheat, and they are called as vertical conveyor reaper because they cut the crop and they carry those cut crop while they are standing vertically, and they deliver them into the one side of the machine. As you can see in this picture, they are harvesting the standing crop and holding them in standing position after they being cut, and that cut crops are being discharged to the other side of the implement or other side of the machine, and that's why it is called as vertical conveyor reaper. It reap the material and reap the crop, and reaped crops are held in vertical position until they discharged to the one side of the machine, and that's why they are called as vertical conveyor reaper. And they may be tractor drawn type, they may be power tiller operated type also. In case of tractor drawn type, they are always mounted at the front of the tractor, and they will be raised or lowered by using tractor hydraulic control system, and the power will be given by the tractor PTO, and it means they uses the tractor PTO power for cutting and conveying the material into the swath at one side of the equipment machine, and for rising and lowering and to adjust the height of cut, they use as a tractor hydraulic control system. So they can able to they can able to harvest the crop of 0.4 to 0.6 hectare in 1 hour. So it means they are having high harvesting capacity. In case of vertical conveyor reaper, which is power tiller operated, this is how they look like. So they also they are attached to the front of the power tiller, and there will be the operator will operate these by walking behind this, and they will cut the crop and they put them in a swath. So this kinds of crops laid over the ground are called as the swath. Whenever any crop they are cut, harvested, and they put into the line, they are called as the swath. So this is called as the swaths of crop. So each vertical conveyor reaper, they come with this type of this is called as the cutting unit, where the cutting unit consists of a crop divider. All these part of the implement are called as crop divider. So they divide the crop which are coming into the cutter bar, coming towards the cutter bar. So that only this much area where the plants are there, they will be cut by this portion. Similarly, from this to this width, the entire crop will be cut by this, like this. The entire crop will be divided and they will be conveyed towards the cutter bar. And here there is a star wheel. They will carry the cut material and help to move towards this side. And there will be a finger, pressure finger also. They will keep the cut crop in upright condition, in standing posture, until they get discharged to the side of one side of the machine. And that's how the crop will be harvested. So crop divider will divide the crop, and the divided crop will convey towards the cutter bar at the bottom by the star wheels. And there will be a finger, pressure fingers. They hold those cut crop in upright condition, and these are all the belt with the pegs. They carry those upright held crop towards this one side, and that's how they will be discharged to the one side, and they put them in the swath. So like that, the crop will be harvested and they will be conveyed by holding them in vertical condition until they get discharged to the another side of the implement. In case of a power tiller operated, the coverage, they can able to harvest 0.25 to 0.35 hectares of crop in 1 hour, whereas in tractor you can harvest the crop up to 0.6 hectare in 1 hour. So reaper binder is another kind of machine. It's an improved version of a reaper, where the reaper only harvests the crop and leave them in a swath like this, whereas the reaper binder, it harvests the crop and bundle them into convenient size and leave them behind the machine. So later these bundles will be collected and they will be taken for threshing operations. So reaper binder, it combines reaping of crop, then making bundles of convenient size and discharging them at the rear of the machine, and that's how the crop will be binded. And this bound material, tied material will be easy to collect from the field, and these bundles of crop will be collected and they will be taken into the threshing yard for further threshing. So the reaper binder can able to harvest the crop to a height of about 10 centimeter from the ground, and they can able to cover 0.25 to 0.35 hectares of crop in 1 hour. So in each hour they can able to harvest and bind the crop of area of 2.5 to 2.35 hectares. So what we discussed so far, the reaper, mower and all, mower is for harvesting forage crop and herbage crops, whereas reaper is to harvest grain crop, particularly wheat and paddy and other millets crops, and they are all grains. If you want to, these are all crops are having their economical part above the ground. If you want to harvest the crops where their economical part is below the ground, then you need to dig the soil. So for that, you need to have a specialized equipment. You can't use reaper for harvesting groundnut. You can't use mower for harvesting potatoes and all. So for that, their specialized equipments are required, and we call them as a diggers. If you want to harvest the groundnut crop, then you should use a groundnut digger and shaker machine. So this is how groundnut digger and shaker machines will look like while they are in operation. So they generally come as an tractor drawn implement, where they are attached to the rear of the tractor and they use as a tractor PTO power to perform the work. And they dig the soil with the help of this digging blade, and they will, as they dig the soil, the groundnut along with the mass of soil will be lifted, and they will be moved into this conveyor cum shaker, where that conveyor will have a certain kind of articulation so that they keep shaking while they're moving, and because of that shaking, only the groundnut with veins will be hold there, and the soil mass will be loosened and they will fall below as the implement moves forward. And at the rear side, only groundnut will be put in a swath, and later this groundnut will be collected manually. And that's how the groundnut digger shaker is used to harvest a groundnut crop. So it will have a digging blade. The digging blade will go to the penetrate into the ground, and they can able to penetrate into the ground to the depth below the normal depth of groundnut plant, where that they are having the parts to the below that depth. So they will penetrate, and they will lift the crop, I mean groundnut crop, along with the parts and the soil around the plant also. And later the soil will be removed as they passes through this chain, where the chains also vibrate or shakes, and that's how the soil will be dropped. And only the groundnut with free fines, with vines will be taken, and they will be put in a swath behind the implement. So later this material will be collected manually. Similarly, potato diggers are also there. The potato diggers are used to dig the potato crops in the potato field, and here also there will be a digging blade. It will dig the crop to a depth below the root zone of the potato plants, and it will lift the entire mass of soil along with the potato plants and potatoes, and entire mass will comes to the conveying chains, where the conveying chains are provided with articulations or with the kind of vibration or shaking, and having slots. Through that slot all soil will fall down, and only potatoes by the time they reaches the end of the digger, only potatoes with big clods will be conveyed, and they will be discharged at the rear like this in a swath. And later all these potatoes will be collected manually, and that's how the potato harvesting will be done with the help of a potato digger. The minimum power source required to operate this type of potato digger is around 25 to 35 HP, and as the size increases, the power source of the tractor will also increases, that the demand for the high HP tractor will increase. And they can able to harvest the potatoes of about 0.15 to 0.2 hectares of land in 1 hour. In each hour they can able to harvest up to 0.2 hectares of potato crop. So in addition to this, there are other harvesting machines also there, like ginger harvester, onion harvester. So they are also have some components similar to the potato digger and groundnut digger, but there will be some other accessories also they come with the particular crops requirement. So for the onion harvester, the digging unit will be there, but there will be other units also for detopping unit and separating unit. There will be something different than this. Similarly, ginger crop also requires a specialized harvesting equipment. Like that, each crops the harvesters may be different. So these are all the references you can use for deeper understanding of various harvesting machines. Thank you all.